40 hours. 40 hours is a review series in which I'll be giving a minimum of 40 hours to a game to try to experience as much as possible within the game by learning the ins and outs, reaching the end or post game, with the goal of giving a review that is deeper than just the first impressions. This series isn't for games that we can beat in just a couple hours and call it a day, but for the longer experiences that you can't just finish in one sitting. Things like live service games, open world RPGs, and MMOs. Let's see what the clock has taken today. Welcome to 40 hours. The game we're talking about today is Honkai Star Rail, the newest anime gacha game from miHoYo, who are the same people behind the super successful hits of Genshin Impact and Honkai Impact 3rd. Genshin Impact being an open world action combat gacha game, while Honkai Impact 3rd is an instant hack and slash gacha game. I personally played Genshin Impact for over 100 hours for a good time at the release of the game, dropped a couple $100 from my community, got some great 5-star characters, even got my account hacked and lost all my items resources and had to start again. So I can definitely say I put some time into Genshin, as I was even above adventure rank 40. I was done with Genshin because there was no end game and they had their goofy little events here and there that didn't interest me in the slightest, and the most criminal offense was the multiplayer fucking sucked. Genshin is a single player story game with gacha elements. Once I finally understood that for myself, I knew I was done playing the game. So when Honkai Star Rail released, I thought to myself, man, this game literally looks just like Genshin, and I was going to completely ignore the game. But with it being a free-to-play title and I was going to be away from home for a while, I decided to give a game a shot since I literally had nothing to lose. I felt like I'd get a couple hours of fun out of the game and enjoy the dopamine from bullets of 5 stars. I'm not gonna lie to you, I was hooked from the jump. I dropped over 20 hours the first 3 days I played. The story starts off with shit just happening. People are running, there are explosions, some chick is playing invisible instruments. Watching the scene again just makes you appreciate it so much more than the first time. After watching that scene, you control Kafka and go through the tutorial. I had no real thoughts about anything at this point until I got to do her ultimate.
Time to say bye.
When I saw the start of the ultimate, I was like, okay, spinning and dual wielding guns, this isn't too crazy. Then she hit the boom and the room exploded, so that was when I knew she was waifu. Unfortunately, I found out shortly after that she was not playable in any capacity until her banner comes around. So after I saw her ultimate, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. If this is just a tutorial, what's next? miHoYo did a very good job of setting the scene. They let you try out these characters that aren't even out yet, give you some really cool scenes, and they disappear. I didn't see Kafka again until literally 30 hours later, but that's besides the point. The game got me reeled in. But why did I stay? What kept me playing the game at 50 hours and counting? Well, it was a lot of things, but let's just start with the story. From the start of the story, you literally know as much as your player character does, which leaves you, the player, questioning so many things that are happening from the beginning of the story, with who is Kafka and Silverwolf to what is the Stellaron? Why do we have a nuke inside our chest? What is the Trailblazed Express? And so much more is as new to you as it is to your character. Everything was very intriguing to find out about, and I really did enjoy the cast of characters that we got to meet in the very beginning of the game, that being March 7th, Dan Hung, Himiko, and even Asta. The story essentially has you become the equivalent of this universe's Vault Hunters as you go from planet to planet defusing nukes known as Stellarons. That's roughly what the plot is, but there's obviously more going on when we go on a planet by planet basis. Like for the space station where you start the game, it's essentially the tutorial zone and you find out how to play the game while getting introduced to the story and the cast. The story has you become a member of the Astro Express, and you set off on your first adventure to Jarilo 6. Now, here you get to meet the Overworlders and the Underworlders and get to learn about their culture and the ongoing struggle of their communities. The story was very, very interesting to me and had my attention from beginning to end. I don't know how to explain it, but the world is just very interesting to me, and it's really fun to interact with the people in their side missions or through the funny text messages that you get throughout the game. The dialogue genuinely has moments where it made me laugh out loud and put a smile on my face, all while at the same time there are some great moments where I was hyped over the fights and was cheering my character on. The best moment of the game for me so far was when you confront Gacolia at the end of the arc when she's taking on the power of the Stellaron. From the cutscenes to the walking down the path of memories to the fight itself, it was all a beautiful thing to see come together to bring a very memorable boss fight and chapter to a close. It was after this I was like, okay, if they can do a final boss like this for every destination, I'm sold. The gameplay is a pretty simple to understand turn-based combat system. Everyone has essentially 3 abilities: their basic attack, their skill, and their ultimate. Every character also has 3 hidden abilities that you unlock as you level up the characters and progress throughout the game. Characters have their own unique gimmicks to them, and these could be things like a resource management system that you'll get as the fight goes on, or you might have a character that as they take actions, there's something else that they do while their turn is happening, but this is just the basics of it. Your characters will take turns hitting enemies based on the speed of everyone, which can be altered by various things such as buffs, debuffs, and stuns. From the beginning of the game, I'm not gonna lie, I had the GOAT setup. I had pulled Bronya on my starter pool, and I pulled Seela on my 4th pool on her banner. For those who know, I'm sorry. For those who don't know, for a very long time in this game, this combo carried me because of how their abilities work. Seela is an expert at dealing single target damage and has passive ability where if she gets a kill, she instantly gets another turn. Her ultimate also has this, so if you get a kill with her ultimate as well, you get another turn. Bronya is a support character whose main gimmick is that she can dispel debuffs from someone on your team while also immediately making it their turn, while also increasing their damage. The duo can literally play off each other like this for a very long time before you really need to think about anything. So as far as combat goes, I didn't really find anything difficult until the second half of the Guerrilla 6 arc. I'm sure this was the case for everyone though until the levels started to kick up. Once they start to kick up and you begin theory crafting, that's where the real fun begins. After you gain access to the relic and light cone system, you're able to build your characters in different ways to make them stronger. For Seela, I wanted to build as much in the crit rate and crit damage as possible so I could always have my next turn. While with Bronya, I wanted to have as much speed as possible so that I can make sure to stay on the offensive as much as possible if Seela doesn't get the first hit kill. So I would have put on relics to help in these regards. For light cones, they essentially will buff a character when certain conditions are met. There are some where if you kill an enemy, you gain even more damage. There are some that increase your defense, and if your health reaches 50%, it doubles that defense. There is one if you are hit, you then apply a burn to the enemy. It goes on and on with many that you can choose from to build your character in just the right way. This matters much more later in the game where they introduce enemies that have special mechanics of their own, and when you enter my favorite part of the game, the simulated universe. The simulated universe is one of the end-game activities in this game alongside the Forgotten Hall. The simulated universe is essentially a roguelike spin-off within the game itself. It allows you to bring only a certain amount of characters from your roster, and you can add on to the roster as safe zones. When a character dies, you can't do anything with them until you get back to the safe zone and potentially revive them. The simulated universe is actually surprisingly very fun. The way the game mode works really is that you go and clear out a world in this digital space that has enemies from your previous encounters alongside a card and curio system. Every battle, you receive a card in which you receive some form of buff to aid your team and increase your chance of winning. The card system adds so much more diversity as there are combinations and strats that change how you play compared to the normal game. It's very fun to go in and try out new cards and teams, and it was in this mode on World 4 that I really had to plan on how the hell I was going to deal with Svarog, and as compared to the story mode boss fight, he is tuned to the fucking max and he'll obliterate you if you aren't paying attention and respecting his mechanics. Every final boss in this mode is the quote-unquote complete version of them, which is just them tuned to the max, and it's such a fun experience going into it. The card system also is accompanied by the curio system, which are essentially items that you collect that provide various bonuses. They're honestly very varied in what the effects can be, but they can literally change the course of your run with just one of them. My favorite one is the lotto ticket item, where if you destroy a destructible object, there's a small chance of you receiving a curio, and there's a small chance of you losing 99% of your HP. This mode is ridiculously fun, and you're rewarded pretty well for it, as you'll get weekly rewards alongside per world rewards for first time completions. There's also an achievement system where you get even more rewards for discovering items in the simulated universe. For me, this is easily my favorite part of the game, and I hope that with future updates it continues to get things expanded onto it even further. And really, to just explain it but simply, if you guys have played any roguelike, any recent roguelikes came into the past couple years like Hades or Slay the Spire or anything like that, this essentially is that, but now in a gacha format. Honestly, I'm having a blast playing this game, and I don't know, maybe it's because it's a brand new game and I'm just running off that high, or because I'm going in blind, not watching any guides or tips and tricks, and just kind of playing the game at my own pace and just enjoying the world and the game for what it is. All I know is that Honkai Star Rail has generally been a great experience with not too many negatives for me personally, outside the normal stuff, which I mean, it's like, there's resin. That's it. There's resin. That shit's ass. I hate any game with the stamina mechanic, but I mean, it's free to play, so it is what it is. I like the story. I like that we have an actual speaking main character. I like the gameplay loop. I like that it's not a big ass open world and I have to do a collectathon. I'm kinda over that shit. I don't need it. And the game is free to play, and if you're okay with gacha games and turn-based combat, I recommend giving it a shot. And like I said, the only thing I don't like about the game is the stamina system, but complaining about that is like complaining about the game being free. If you enjoyed the video, let me know how you feel about Star Rail in the comment section below, along with your opinion on the game, and also do me a favor and leave a like and consider subscribing. It helps the channel grow. And last thing, I'd like to thank you all for 300 subs and being with me on this weird journey of my channel. See ya.